Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to all of y'all. Welcome to another Monday evening of Cliff Notes Live. I'm so happy to be here doing the show with y'all. I'm happy to be at home doing the show with y'all as well. Last week was a little tough. I was actually out of town at a business conference. We'll talk about it a little bit, but made it a little bit tougher to do the show. So I'm happy to be back this evening. I hope y'all are doing all incredibly well. Before I go any further, SKD143. I love my wife. I love the kids. I love all of y'all out here. Love all the reality TV fans in general. Man, we've got so much reality TV going on. So we're going to talk about some of that this evening as well. I know so much. Was it Joshy P? I saw that. Yeah, not going to be able to make this Cliff Notes because BB Canada. I get it. There may be a few people watching BB Canada. Hopefully that means that you can watch it on a replay. Cliff Notes. You can watch BB Canada on a replay as well. But now this show does show up as a replay. So for all of y'all who aren't watching live, that's okay. Welcome to y'all as well. Thank you for the support. I absolutely do appreciate it. All right, let's see who we do have out there. Amanda Lowe. Howdy, Amanda. How are you doing? Yeehaw. Yeah, that sounds like something I would say. Yeehaw indeed. Michelle Nichols. What are we doing? Well, Michelle, we're talking all about everything. Well, it was such a busy week last week, and I'll go into all the details, and then again, we're going to talk about some reality TV as well. Kiki, howdy. Brian Hostetler, happy March. Yeah, happy March indeed. I guess it was last week. Yeah, last week was February 28th, so this is the first show in March. Man, how quickly time flies, right? Marilyn Sutherland out there, howdy to you as well. Paula Scar, Baugh out there. We made it to March. Yes, we did. We avoided the Ides of March. What is that, March 2nd? I think that's when Julius Caesar got backstabbed. Hey, Julius Caesar could have been on Big Brother. He knows all about backstabbing, right? Ides of March. March 6th was the fall of the Alamo for us Texans. Remember the Alamo? Yeah, it's a special day there. You can't be a Texan if you haven't been to visit the Alamo at least, I don't know, a couple of dozen times. It's kind of the icon of the state over in San Antonio. Andy W. Hi, I'm all ready for Survivor to start on Wednesday. Love the ending to The Amazing Race. Yeah, I know, me too. Remind me a little bit. I forgot about Amazing Race. Let's talk about Amazing Race also here in just a second. Michelle Moore, how do you watch Big Brother Canada? It's not easy. Yeah, go out there and do some searching on YouTube or Googling it, but you can find it out there. It's Global TV, I think, is who does it. And then Moss saying Daily Motion. Yeah, Daily Motion does it. I'm not sure if they do it live or do they do it a little bit later, but there's some different ways to do it. And then Michelle Moore saying, I have Paramount, but I only see the old season of Big Brother Canada. Yeah, Michelle, I did the same thing. I thought I was going to watch BB Canada on Paramount because I heard all this talk about the seasons were on there. It only goes up to season 9 of Big Brother Canada. I think there's also Big Brother. I think there's also Big Brother Australia. I think it's the other one that's sitting out there in Paramount, but they're not the current seasons. They're the past seasons. So, yeah, I need to if I ever have enough time to do it, I need to go back and watch a whole lot of the old Big Brother Canada seasons because I haven't seen that many. I saw the first bit of season 6, I think, before I went into the Big Brother US house. Yeah, I was trying to learn as much as I could from as many different versions of the program as possible. And then we had the COVID shutdown one. I watched all of last season, but the earlier seasons, I need to go back. I need to go back and watch Ika Wong and some of the other exciting ones from previous seasons also. All right, let's see. Amanda Lowe is saying, is Cliff going to Pleasure Pier on Galveston Island? Looks like fun. All right, so for those of y'all who are saying, what the heck is Amanda talking about? Here's the thing. If you saw my reminder that I sent out on YouTube, I guess if you're a subscriber, and if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to my channel so you'll always get the notifications. Obviously, Amanda's a subscriber because she got a notification that the show was coming on tonight. And the background I had was a Pleasure Pier in Galveston. There used to be a hotel that was built at Galveston Island, right up about 45 minutes down the road from Houston itself, right up an island there at the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico. There used to be a hotel called the Flagship that was actually built up over the water, which was kind of cool to stay in. Not so cool if you're there during a hurricane, however, and that's exactly what happened. A hurricane finally blew through, and it didn't blow the building over, but it did enough damage. They said, yeah, hotel over the water is not so great. So instead, they tore that down. They used the base and built a whole amusement park out over the water. And so that's the picture I had up for a reminder. And there's a reason that I did that, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's see, what else do we have on here before we start talking about a few things? All right, Ma, random question. What is your middle name? All right, well, here's one for you, Ma. My middle name is Clifford. But yeah, I'm named after my father, who is named after my grandfather. My first name is actually William, but I go by Cliff. Have done it forever, so there you go. All the other names were taken up, so yeah, I go by Cliff. So that's my middle name. Now here's the story for y'all. Some of y'all may have heard it, some of you maybe not. My dad, William Clifford Hogg, also. Funny how that works, right? He didn't go by William. He didn't go by Clifford. He went by Porky. Yeah, Porky Hogg. Now that was not his legal name, but from the age of 2 or 3 years old, he had aunts. I talk about some mean aunts that thought he was kind of funny. They thought, oh, look at that little pudgy baby or whatever. Let's call him Porky. So they started calling him Porky. It stuck there his whole life. Talking about kind of a mean couple of relatives, right? But we always thought it was great. He always loved the name. Now he was a school teacher, and back in the days before caller ID, you think we didn't get a few prank phone calls because it was listed in the phone book. Do they even have phone books anymore? I'm not sure they even do. But back in the old days, the phone book listed Porky Hogg. And yeah, we got all kinds of prank calls all night long. After a while, you didn't even worry about it. I'll take the old school prank calls over all the spam calls I get on my cell phone any day of the week. At least there's a live person on the end of those prank calls. But yeah, so my dad went by the name Porky. I'm just glad my name isn't Harry Hogg or something like that. Yeah, there's a little bit of prankster that runs through our family, I suppose. I've got a distant relative who also was a hog. Her dad, who happened to be the former governor, or of course he's former governor, it's like late 1800s, early 1900s. But governor of Texas, James Stephen Hogg, Jim Hogg, named his daughter Ima. Yeah. You see how that works? Ima Hogg. Yeah, isn't that kind of cruel as well? To name a daughter that as well, but he named after an old, I don't know, a family member who'd had that name a long time ago. I don't know how it worked out. Fortunately, old Ima Hogg was also very wealthy, Ima Hogg, and so she had enough money. I think if you're rich enough, people don't dare make fun of your name too much. So I think she made up for it. We should have some of that money filter down to this generation of hogs, but not the case. But yeah, so I'm a hog, Porky Hogg. I kind of like having just a regular name like Cliff Hogg. It works okay for me. So there you go. All right, Maryland Southern. I've actually been to the Alamo. It's cool. It's a very solemn deal. I'm amazed it's right there in the middle of San Antonio. I think we're lucky that it didn't get torn down a long time ago. We don't have the whole Alamo. We just have the church that you always see pictures of and everything. But means a lot to the Texans. So yeah, I'm glad they held on to it. All right, let's see what else we got going on before we kind of bump into a few things. All right, first of all, I always do this. And I kind of got busy the last few weeks and didn't do it. This day in history, national whatever days. Normally I do it just because I'm waiting for some people to come straggling for the show and everything. But I wanted to throw one out today just for the fun of it, to get back into a routine. And that is this. Today is, and welcome to all of y'all on National Cereal Day. Yeah, who doesn't love cereal, right? There may be a few of you out there, but not many. Love me some cereal. I was so happy inside the Big Brother house that we had cereal in there. Now, my personal favorites, probably Captain Crunch. I love me some Captain Crunch. Raisin Bran, probably Special K with strawberry slices, or maybe just some standard old Cheerios with some banana slices put in there. You can't go wrong with that, right? But other than the fact that it's like 120% sugar, if that's even possible, Captain Crunch is my go-to. I love it. But I don't get that as much as I used to. But I was so happy when I got in the house that they actually had cereal as well, for two reasons. One, it's just an easy snack to have during the day. But also it meant that if we had a lot of cereal, it meant they were going to make sure to give us a lot of milk as well. And I love me some milk. And so there were lots of times where I would go into the diary room and say, hey, can we get another gallon of milk? We're running low, and everyone eats cereal for breakfast. And so they'd give us some more cereal. So that was always good. Inside the house, just so some of you may not know, we don't get to pick what foods we get in the house, right? We just kind of, they pick a variety, and hopefully some of the stuff you like, some of it, if you don't like, you just ignore it. Well, inside the house, it seems like there were two basic cereals that we got. There probably were more, but these are the two I remember. One was Fruit Loops, which I'm just fine with. That works for me. The other was Mule Slicks or something. I don't know, big old wheat shredded bars or something that I've never been a big fan of. And I said, yeah, I'm leaving that alone for other folks in the house. But we had Fruit Loops in there, and it's very good. So I got a little question for you. Do you know how to spell Fruit Loops? All right, the fruit loops, Loops. Fruit Loops. The fruit part is spelled Fruot, not Fruit, like I would have guessed and thought. And the reason I mentioned that, we had a big discussion about while we were in the house, why it was spelled Fruot instead of Fruit. Well, I found out when I got out, the reason being is that when Fruit Loops were invented in 1959, they were spelled Fruit. And someone filed a lawsuit and said, oh, you're calling these Fruit Loops, but there's no fruit in them. It's nothing but sugar. So they filed a class action lawsuit. So whoever the cereal company was said, yeah, we're just going to spell them Fruot instead. So there you go, guys. Little trivia for the day before we move on to more important areas. But happy cereal day to y'all. You remember season 19, Matt was in there eating cereal all day, every day. I wondered about that. I thought, are they going to make fun of me eating hot dogs all day long, or my heated ham sandwiches, things like that I ate a lot while I was in the house? Nah, they left me alone. They were so busy talking to and making fun of Mickey with his watermelons, making fun of Christy just in general, the way she ate and everything. And just so you know, her eating never bothered me while I was in the house. It's only when I got out of the house I found out that had become a bit of a thing. Making fun of her chewing and everything else. So you never know what you're going to find out people focused on until you get out of the house. That was kind of funny because I had no clue. I really didn't know until I got out. All right, a few comments as we start going through here. First of all, retired Intel guy, Galveston in the background. Yes, it is. And so let's just go ahead and talk about that real quick. I had on my reminder for YouTube, the Pleasure Pier right here. I'll scoot over a little bit so you can see it. Is a church. It's a very old church in Galveston. It's St. Joseph's Church, built in 1859. I think it was the first German church in the state of Texas, perhaps, primarily for the German clientele, which are a lot of Germans who settled in Texas at the time, but built in 1859. One of the few structures that survived the huge hurricane they had in 1900 that killed tens of thousands of people on the island. But there's a little something special about that church. There is now, because that is where I was on Saturday when my daughter Kelly got married. Yes, indeed. We, my son Daniel got married back a Valentine's Day weekend, and we celebrated that. He got married over in Austin, and now it was my daughter's turn. She got married in at St. Joseph's Church in Galveston just this past Saturday. It's amazing. Look it up if you get a chance. Look up on Wikipedia or somewhere. You can see the inside is very old. It's original condition, and it's very famous for, you can see it's very famous for its red door that it's got there. And so it was a cool place to have the wedding ceremony. So we did that on Saturday. Then Saturday night we had the reception for her wedding at a very historic home called Ashton Villa, which is just a couple of blocks away, also on Galveston Island. Ashton Villa is famous for being, well, it's an amazing house, but it is one of the very first brick structures that was ever built in the state of Texas. So it was, oh Lord, it was built in the 1830s, 1840s, something like that. It's an old house. And so we had the reception there, and it's just a wonderful time. So much fun. So my son Daniel's married. My daughter Kelly is married. I got home from Galveston yesterday, and Sharon and I just took a long nap trying to rest. It's been a busy few weeks as we got this all taken care of. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't have any pictures yet. Once my son and my daughter have released their pictures, and I'll share some of it with y'all. But I don't want to spoil the surprise. They had photographers and all that, so I'll let them do all the pictures, and then later I'll either link to it or I'll show y'all some pictures out here, something like that. But no, it was so much fun at that wedding. Had a blast, and it was a little tough because I think I told y'all last Monday I was up in Fort Worth for a chemical conference, and I was busy. Yeah, those are so hard. You're visiting with clients all day long. You're taking people to lunch and dinners and everything else. So I'm doing all of that, and as soon as I get back home, they'll immediately go into to wedding mode, getting ready for that. So yeah, it was a busy week last week. Another reason I'm so happy to see y'all here on this Monday and be talking, getting back into the normal swing of things, talking to y'all, talking reality TV, things like that. Now, Cindy Harris says, got engaged February 24th. Well, Cindy, congratulations. That deserves a special little victory celebration just for you, my friend. Congratulations. That's so great. When you find that life partner, that person that just matches with you perfectly and everything, it's such a cool feeling. So congratulations. Once you get the date set and everything, let me know, and I make sure I give you a little special shout out at the time, because I'm happy for you. It's kind of cool in that house because everyone else in that Big Brother house was so much younger than myself. And so I'm at the age where I got to see my son get married. I got to see my daughter get married. I'm going to see friends of mine that were castmates in the Big Brother house that are all starting to have relationships. Get to see some of them get married and celebrating. And then somewhere after that, you got kids and all that. It's just fun watching people go through all the stages of life and celebrating it. And I'm happy I get to witness every bit. It's been a lot of fun. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? Here for the live stream featuring the Real Boss Hog. Greetings from Western Pennsylvania from Fred Benson. Well, Fred, thank you very much. I love me some Western Pennsylvania. Nothing against the eastern part of Pennsylvania. I didn't realize there was such a big difference between east and west for you guys up there, but here's what I like. Now, as growing up, I wasn't maybe the biggest fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers because I was a Cowboys fan, and they had a few tussles there in the 70s. But Western Pennsylvania is where Monroeville is located, and Monroeville is where Dawn of the Dead was filmed, one of my favorite horror flicks of all time. It's also where George Romero, who made that movie, was located, and for that reason alone, and because Fred's there as well, Western Pennsylvania, one of my top spots. I've only been there a few times, but yeah, well, welcome aboard, Fred. I absolutely do appreciate it. All right, let's see. Mark Taylor, who's your top 5 Mount Rushmore in Celebrity Big Brother? Oh, man, I don't know. It depends. Is it based on how well they played the game, or is it based on how fun they were to watch on the show? Because they're different. I mean, I don't know. Strategy-wise, Marissa from the first season, I thought she did pretty well, as did Ross. I thought those were two of the strongest strategic players we've had in a season. Nothing against Misha and Todrick this season, but I think Ross and Marissa maybe did a little bit better that first season. So I really like the two of them. Tom Green is probably my all-time favorite Celebrity Big Brother person. I loved him as a comedian before he ever went on the show. And then when he got in there, he was fun. He was entertaining from start to finish when I watched Tom. Who was a running back in season 2? Lord, I can't remember. Y'all tell me, who was a running back, the NFL player from season 2? I just say his name's drawing a blank right now, but y'all tell me. I enjoyed watching him as well because he surprised me. I didn't think he was going to play nearly as well as I did. He was very under the radar, and yet he played a fantastic game. So yeah, I'd have to think about it a little bit longer before I came up with a more comprehensive list, because it's hard. I think Celebrity Big Brother, you've got people that really know how to play the game, that are really entertaining, but you also have a lot of people that don't have a clue what they're doing in there. And sometimes that's kind of fun to watch as well, right? I mean, I liked watching Lamar Odom. Meta World Peace, I didn't like quite as much because I felt like he almost was so unaware of what was going on that he was kind of screwing up the game for people who were trying to play the game. Yeah, he's very indie, voted for who he thought didn't deserve the money instead of who did, supposedly. So, but yeah, I like some of the players who just are in there for entertainment factor, even if they don't play as well. So, I don't know. I think about that a little bit. That's a very good question. Let's see what else we've got as well. Ricky Williams, thank you. Oh, and I should have known Ricky Williams. He's from Texas. He played for the Longhorns. So, yeah, Ricky Williams. I liked watching Ricky Williams play as well. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. I know I knew it was a name I should have known, but he was drawing a blank. Man, I remember Ricky Williams playing University of Texas when I was in school or right after, and he did a number on my Aggies. I was glad to see him graduate to the NFL. Who did he play for? The Dolphins, I think, for a little while. But yeah, I thought he played a good game in Celebrity Big Brother. That's what I like about Celebrity Big Brother. I gotta say, I like the regular season more just because I like regular not that they're not normal, but you know what I mean. I like regular people coming into the show as opposed to the celebrities. But what I do like about the celebrity version is I think casting's always done a good job of getting a real mix of the athletes and the actors and the social media people and the TV. They just get a lot of people who all are famous in their own little arena, but not necessarily, and then they all overlap and have to work with each other. That's kind of interesting to watch as well. So that's fun. And musicians as well. I need to throw that in there. So we've got that. Let's see, your Mount Rushmore and Canadian Big Brother. I just got this head. I've only seen a few episodes, so I mean a few seasons. I couldn't tell you that. I just don't know. That's what makes me so excited about watching all these other seasons of Celebrity Big Brother, of Canadian Big Brother. Too much Big Brother on my mind. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna hold off on that answer until I've watched more, because as soon as I start throwing out some names, people are gonna say, "Oh, you left out so and so. You left out so and so." I've met so many of them. I met a lot of them from season 9 and season 8 while we were at the celebrity boxing, things like that. Karen, who's she? Season 2 or 3 came in second. Met her. She kind of cheered for her. I would have been cheering for her a lot when she played the season if I'd been watching as well, just because, she and I, older people in the house, a little more challenges sometimes playing with it. But yeah, there are a lot of good players. I just need to watch more before I give you a lot more comments on that. Mark's saying, did you wear your cowboy hat to the wedding? No, I didn't. Now, I did my son's wedding, because my daughter was in a historic church and all that. My son's wedding was out more of a country setting. It was an outdoor wedding, and which doing in February, we were a little worried about the weather, but it worked out perfectly. It was over in Austin where he got married. For his wedding, I didn't wear my hat. Yeah, I didn't want to be the person that stood out. I was just the observer, so I wasn't going to do anything that made me stand out too much. I did wear my cowboy boots instead of the fancy tuxedo shoes. I wore my black ostrich cowboy boots, my favorites, and that worked out well. And my son Daniel wore cowboy boots as well, which was neat. But so I wore those. But no, at the wedding this Saturday, I didn't wear the boots. I wore the patent leather shiny tuxedo shoes that everyone knows what I'm talking about. Took the hat off, tried to fit. Did have a fancy little black bow tie, which I don't wear bow ties that often. But yeah, I went the tux route on both of them, and it was a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun dancing and visiting, especially with COVID having taken place. As I sit here and cough, it's not because of COVID. It's just I've been doing a lot of talking for the past week. If my voice is sounding a little raspy, between doing that chemical conference and having to be up and talking to everyone the whole time, then suddenly going into a wedding, and I'm trying to talk over a lot of music and everything else. Throat's a little bit gone, but yeah, it was. We did the wedding, then we did the reception. Now, here's what's funny: the reception. Yeah, we had our cell phones out and everything, and I'm filming all this stuff. I'm filming people dancing. I'm holding the camera. I'm filming selfies of myself dancing. And Sharon continually came over and said, "You aren't posting anything. Do not post anything. You're not posting any selfies of yourself dancing this evening." And it's probably a smart idea. First of all, I kind of have 2 left feet to some degree anyway, which never embarrasses me, but other people maybe so. But yeah, I took a lot of videos, but I've been told, "Hey, you're not posting anything until we get a chance to review it." And that's probably smart. I did get to do a father-daughter dance with my daughter, and that was very special as well. So yeah, it was fun times for everyone for these 2 weddings. It's just so much fun. I still got a big I try to keep a smile on my face, but watching my son, watching my daughter get married, I had a big old smile on my face. I was beaming. If there was ever a time that the word beaming could be used, I was one of the people beaming at those particular ceremonies. And that's what I was getting with as well. After 2 years of COVID, it's kind of broken. I saw my extended family for Christmas, I guess. So we're starting to be able to get together again and everything. But for so long, we didn't have these big family events that my family does throughout the year. we just couldn't do it because there was always concern about someone not feeling well, someone worried about something going, y'all know what it's like with the pandemic. Well, these weddings were some of our first opportunities to bring not just a few people here or there and all that, but to bring the entire family together. And so it was just so much fun having everyone together for a happy moment and being able to just talk and get caught up with family and friends. And I met my kids, their friends from college that I hadn't seen in forever. It was just good times for all. So yeah, it was great. And I got reality TV to keep me going here for a little bit longer as well. All right, well, so we got Mark saying, who's playing a strong game in your opinion on Canadian Big Brother? Who's played a weak game? All right, let me tell you this, Mark. It was interesting because I did that chemical conference the first part of the week, Monday through, got there Sunday night, did the show. Wednesday night, we finally shut that thing down. So I am driving back home to Houston, and I knew that Big Brother Canada was on while I was driving, and I was so tempted to maybe turn it on my phone and maybe see if I couldn't watch it while I was driving, because the roads in Texas, they're very desolate in some areas and all that, and you sometimes can get away. You sometimes could if you chose, but for safety reasons, you don't need to be doing that. So I don't drink and drive. Don't drive and watch TV either. And I am glad I did not, because the thought crossed my mind of, I could do that. I said, no, I would get in trouble if I did it. It's not smart. So I waited. But while I was driving, there was a huge wreck in front of me, going the other way, but cars crossing over. And it was horrible. Smoke everywhere. I tried to pull over, but by the time I got to a safe stop, I was further down the road and the police were there. And anyway, the short part of this, I'm glad I was paying attention and not doing something silly like watching Big Brother Canada when I need to be watching the road, and it paid off. But long story, the short end of it is, once we got back from the wedding yesterday, we sat down, we watched the first 2 episodes of Big Brother Canada, and I watched just a little bit of the live feed. So now I feel like I'm kind of caught up to some degree. And there's not enough people watching Big Brother Canada out here. I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I'm not going to do that on this show, because there may be people who still want to try to go out there and watch the show. So spoiler-free zone for Big Brother Canada on Cliff Notes Live. I think we'll keep that in place this season. But as far as who's playing a strong game, who's playing a weak game, I will throw some of that out there. I went in thinking Martin or Marty. I was going to cheer for him just because he's closer to my age. He's 43, so he's younger than I am, but he's the oldest person in the house. And I think he's doing okay so far. I kind of have enjoyed watching him play the game. I'm not going to talk about spoilers, but I think he's done all right. The 2 people, and I'm not going to say they're playing the weakest game, because I don't believe that to be the case, but the 2 people that maybe are going to bring some of the biggest amount of chaos to this house, y'all tell me, but I feel like Kevin has been a lot of fun to watch. I think his game's going to be a little sloppy at times. I don't think it's as cut and dried as he thinks it is. He's been talking about he wants to kind of play dumb, play under the radar, have everyone think he doesn't know what's going on, and he actually knows a lot more. He's happy being the villain. He wants to be the villain that no one knows about until it's too late. I think there are gonna be a few more bumps in the road than he is expecting, and we're seeing a little bit of that already. But he's fun to watch. So he's not the person I thought I was going to be excited to see on the show when it first started. I really thought, this guy's a goofball. And I'm not saying that's not the case, but he's also been fun to watch. Jess is another one who, just from the first few episodes, she's interesting. I say she. It's she or they, I think, is how they had asked to be. And I'm trying to be accommodating to request my appeal. But Jess has been very interesting so far in terms of people having friction or not having friction. I don't know. We're going to see what happens with Jess throughout the season as well. So, no, it's been kind of interesting so far. But we'll find out. So let's see what else we got going on. Misfire. My uncle was a pastor there, Pastor Fred. At this church? If that's a Misfire, that is a small world, but nothing surprises me in this day and age. Well, that's cool. That's neat. Tell Pastor Fred that I really like St. Joseph's Church. It was a a great place to have a wedding. It's cool. I like historical things, and being from Texas, we're the New World and all that. We don't have as much old stuff here. Even Texas, as compared to those of you in the Northeast, and there, our buildings aren't nearly as old. And so I don't get to see the historical monuments as much. Things like the Alamo and some of this church and a few here and there, yeah. But then on my trips, when I go over to Europe and Moscow and China, and I see how old some of these places are compared to even our old monuments, it is amazing. I am continually impressed by some of these architectures of times from hundreds, thousands of years ago. It's amazing. I watched The Last Duel. Talking about binging shows now. I watched The Last Duel, which was Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Pretty cool show if you haven't seen it. But they show at one point Notre Dame being built, Notre Dame, I guess, if you want to get official, being built in like 1300 or something. That thing got built in 1100, 1200, 12th century. That's incredible. I'm just amazed that buildings built that long ago, the engineering is such that it would still be around today. So there you go. I enjoy history. I enjoy old structures. I love taking pictures of them all. It's really neat. Our Marilyn Sutherland. I've actually been to the Alamo. Congratulations. You got to go. Even if you're not, who is a huge fan of the Alamo and not a Texan? Phil Collins from Genesis. Yeah, against all odds on it. He is a huge Alamo supporter. He buys up a lot of the memorabilia, old historical documents, everything. And then I think some of it he has donated to the Daughters of the Texas Revolution. I think that's their name. Or the Daughters of the Texas Republic that maintain the Alamo site and all of that. So yeah, it's fun. It just makes you think every time you're there. My son is a huge history buff, so we always would make it a point to go there, and they do recreations and it just puts you in touch with history when you see something, something so significant happened back then. Misfire is also saying, does Sam still live in Philly? No, Misfire. Sam made a little move. I don't think he's upset at all about it. Sam decided he was a little tired of those old Pennsylvania winters and all that. So he and the family moved down to Florida. They're somewhere just outside of Orlando, and loving the fact that he can go out in his shirt sleeves or ride his motorcycle in December and not have to worry about a jacket or anything else, hitting the beach all the time. Sam was one of those. I wanted to work with Sam so bad inside the Big Brother house, especially after he pulled me off the block in week 1 with his veto win. I thought, man, Sam, he's a little younger, but he's got a family. He's got kids just like me. We're two dads. We ought to be able to interact and make this stuff happen. And I just thought that he and I and Nick could work together so well. And then he ended up with the Grateful Eight and turned it into the Undeniable or whatever they called themselves. And yeah, it was tough. And even when Sam went home, I remember talking to Nicole saying, well, Nicole, if it comes right down to it, Kat versus Sam, I kind of feel like I can work with Sam just a little bit more than Kat. I love Kat. There's nothing against Kat, but I just thought she was playing a lot of different people at the time. And as it turns out, I was right. Yeah, she was saying everything I told her back to Mickey and Holly and all that. So I really, if the numbers had been there, I would have gone with Sam over Kat probably, but didn't work out. But Sam I hadn't seen since the show wrapped that final night. And so I finally got to see him December in Orlando, and I finally got to meet his wife and his kids. It is such an incredible family. I had a blast hanging with him a little bit and telling a few stories here and there and talking about things that happened in the house, outside the house, and it was a lot of fun. So that's a long answer. Short answer is no, Sam's not in Philadelphia. He's actually down in Florida and enjoying every single bit of it at this point in time. All right, so let's see what else we've got on here. Talked about my business going on, talked about some weddings. We talked a little reality TV. Y'all know that Survivor 42 is coming on Wednesday, right? Ain't no rest for the wicked, right? Isn't that how it goes? Yeah, Survivor 42 is coming back on. I'm excited to see that. They've had the cast reveal, and I haven't even had a chance to go in and check the cast out. But I think if time allows, no promises just yet, but I think I'll probably do a little weekly episode recap of the show like I did last season. That's not hard to do. Big Brother, when you're watching overnight and doing a recap every single day, you really have to be disciplined for that. Survivor, watch the show and do a quick little 15-minute recap when you get done. That's a little easier to handle. So I'll definitely be watching. So I think I think I'll be doing some posts on that. I always love Survivor. They've been around forever, 42 seasons, but they change things up just enough from season to season that it always seems somewhat fresh to watch. So I am excited about that. Lisa, where can we watch Big Brother Canada if in the USA? That's a little hard to do. It's someone, I can't remember who it was said before, maybe Ma. If you want to watch the repeats, I think you can go out to dailymotion.com. I may be wrong. Dailymotion, I think, carries the replays of it. YouTube may carry it as well. I'm not as certain about that, but you can watch the replays of the episodes on Dailymotion. If you want to get a little fancier with it, you can do. I mentioned last week that I'd bought a VPN, which lets you kind of watch other countries if you're blocked geophysically. Is that the word right? With the VPN, I can make the network or the website think I'm logged in from Canada, so I can watch it on Globe TV and watch the replays there. So if you want to get a little fancier, you can do that. But I do think Dailymotion has it as well. So there's ways to do it. You just have to do a little checking with Google Online and everything. Player saying, glad Todrick showed the world who he is. I understand. I get exactly what you're saying. I'm sorry, I missed your name on that, but glad Todrick showed the world who he was. Lisa. Sorry, Lisa. I'm trying to read through all these comments. Yeah, I get what you're saying about Todrick, but here's a question I got for you. And I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying, is who we saw on Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, is that Todrick who he really is? Or is there some other Todrick out there who is the real Todrick, and who we saw on that show was just the Todrick that didn't handle the stress and the paranoia and the constant planning a strategy and didn't handle it well, and as a result got too personal with some of the stuff that was said. So again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I've got a personal opinion that I'm going to keep as a personal opinion, but yeah, it was unfortunate. I've always said I'm keeping the show and the personal separate from each other, and I've always meant that. The other 15 people that were in that house with me, I would reach out and do anything for any of them, give any one of them a hug if allowed and all that, you know. But I didn't. Nothing that happened in my season did I take personally. But I also do recognize there were things that were said. There were some things that said by Todrick that went beyond the game, became a little personal, and that was unfortunate to see. And again, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt and assume that maybe that's not who he really is. That it was just bad optics at the time. The cameras caught him in his worst moments, and we all saw it. That's the problem when you go on Big Brother. There's nothing hidden. There's very little hidden, right? Yeah, the camera sees all. And unfortunately, Todrick, there was a lot to see at times. So yeah, I'm not saying forgive or justify it or anything else. I'm just saying I'm going to take with a grain of salt that maybe that's not everything about who he is. I hope that's the case. I don't ever want to think the worst about people. We'll find out over the next, now that Todrick's a little bit more on the radar of everything, I think it was smart of him to stay off of social media for a while. That probably wasn't going to do a lot of benefit to him. But I am curious to see, once the freshness of it all wears off, if we get to hear a little bit more from him and hear what he has to say and what he thinks about it all. That would be interesting to find out what his thinking truly is. But again, I've said this before, and y'all know it, that after being in that house, every single person who goes in there, I don't care how much of a villain they look like, how much of an incredible person they look like, every person that's in there, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not gonna try to characterize them too much by just what I saw in the house. I'm gonna try to recognize and remember that it's just one small little snapshot of a whole lot more life that they've lived, and just hope that, I hope that there's a lot more to some of the people that we see on TV. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I do want to see what Todrick says once we get a little further down the road. I want to see how his tour goes. He's sold tickets to a whole lot of places all over the country. We'll see how that happens. He's obviously going to continue to stay on the limelight, right? So that was good. All right, we talked about Survivor. We didn't talk about Amazing Race. I almost forgot about that because I was so busy doing the other stuff. Wednesday, not only did I miss Big Brother, but I also missed the finale of Amazing Race, and I was pretty impressed that I was able to stay off of social media enough to not know for certain who won Amazing Race until I watched it yesterday, and I found out who won. And I'm tempted. I don't want to throw the names out here because there may be some other people in my position that haven't seen it yet. So I'm going to give it just another week or two before I actually mention who won. But I'll just say it. I was okay with the winners. I actually was okay with pretty much everyone who made it to the end. The final three. Yeah, the final three. I thought all of them deserved to be there. Played a great game. There's some frustrating things that took place in that. I feel some of the final competition. That was good. Even Amazing Race, even this season, they had to change so much around because of COVID, and they had their own charter plane instead of flying all over the world and all of that. But they did a good job of still keeping it all going, and it was a fun final episode. I will say this: I wish they had a 2-hour final episode of the Amazing Race. How come Amazing Race gets 2 hours and Big Brother only got an hour? Being a live show and all that, we could have done so well with 2 hours of Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, and we could have heard jury questions and just gotten so much more into Celebrity Big Brother. Maybe CBS and producers were a little worried that we'd get too into it and you'd have some tempers flaring, and they didn't want to have 2 hours of live TV, but you could have done a 1 hour of recap, kind of stuff. Here's what's happened with the competitions and everything, and then gone into an hour live. I would love to see Big Brother, the finale, get more time. So those final two, they spent, these final two spent 29 days in the house, or however long it was. My season, the final two spent 99 days in the house. To spend that long in the house, I'd love for them to get more than a minute and a half to give a final speech to talk about why they think they deserve it. I'd love to have 2 hours and have them give, 5-minute speech, or I don't know, however it would work out. But now we got 2 hours of Amazing Race, just 1 hour of Big Brother. I'd be okay swapping those two things. Y'all know what I mean, right? All right, let's see what else we have on here. Is the Big Brother house in Canada bigger in size than the U.S. house? Maybe. I mean, it looks like it should be. It's multi-level. It just seems like there's a whole lot more to that house. I gotta say, I love my Big Brother house in the U.S. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It has so many memories now. But that Big Brother house up in Canada, the set designs and everything, top notch. They always do such an amazing job of that house. It's a cool looking house. I love watching it and everything else. I'm not sure about staying in that house. It's a very busy looking house. I've been watching this season, and there's several rooms. They're black on the walls. They're black on the floor. They've got white stripes, so it's just squares everywhere. It looks like the kind of studio that you would have for people doing, what do they call it, where they put on the little sensors all over their body and they do the green screen kind of stuff. It looks like it ought to be something for special effects movie house or something. But that house gets a little bit busy. I think it would give me some stress-induced headaches just looking at that stuff for too long. Lots of very bright colors, lights everywhere. A little different than the Big Brother house in the way it's done. But yeah, it seems like it's a big house. And maybe part of the reason is because they're up there I think they're in Toronto, right? Y'all Canadian viewers, tell me. I think the Big Brother Canada is filmed in Toronto. It gets a little cold up there in February and March. So most of theirs is indoors. They do have a little backyard area. They got a little hot tub and viewing area, but for the most part, their gym, everything has to be indoors. And it seems like it's pretty big. All their competitions are held inside the house as well. So yeah, it's probably more square footage. I like the house. I don't know if I'd want to live there, but I like the house. Lawrence said, would like a Wendy. Yeah, would like a Wendy's in my house. Yeah, me too. They not only do they have a Wendy's, the HOH normally gets a Wendy's meal delivered by a celebrity or their parents or someone, which is pretty cool. But they also have a washer and dryer inside the house, so they get full access all the time instead of not just a couple of days like we did in our house. Yeah. Do you know that if I knew that the winner of an HOH was going to get Wendy's and they were going to get to invite some friend of theirs to have some Wendy's along with them, do you know how much more I would have been kissing up to every single person that won HOH in that house? Oh, I love me some Wendy's. I ate there probably more than I should, but I like my Wendy's. I like my Frosties, and yeah, I'm a little jealous of that tie-in. My season of Big Brother, we didn't have any of those tie-ins. I didn't get Wendy's. I didn't get a steak meal out in the backyard from Outback Steakhouse, which would have been a lot of fun as well. I didn't get some famous celebrity come in and do a personal concert for us, which probably better for me, because I have a feeling they would have brought some up-and-coming pop singer to the backyard to sing, and I probably would have been embarrassed to heck, because I would have been saying, who is this person? I don't know who this person is. And everyone else would be saying, you don't know whoever. And I would say, nah, I don't know. And then they would have made me look the old goofy guy that doesn't have a clue what's going on in today's pop world. Something like that. But I still would like to hear a little music. All right, Lawrence, Toronto. All right, thank you. I thought it was Toronto. I appreciate it. Lisa, you made me get a bowl of Apple Jacks. All right, you can't go wrong with Apple Jacks. What, Ribbit? I can't remember the frog that's the mascot or whatever, but yeah, I had me some Apple Jacks here and there. Apple Jacks and Rice Krispies. Well, I'm kind of an equal opportunity eater when it comes to cereal. I kind of like them all. All right, Sandy Beach is saying, excited for Survivor Wednesday. It's my birthday as well. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday to you, Sandy. Congratulations. I hope you have a blast on your special day. Enjoy every single bit of it. We'll watch for sure, and would not have to would hate to not have the not to understand the updates. I appreciate that. I like to think when I do these updates, I mean, I don't want to do them for the people who've already watched it, and they're just like, man, wow, he just gave us a recap of what happened. I can watch the first 2 minutes of the following week and get that. So I try not just to do a verbal this, and this happened. I try to add a little thought, opinion, analysis as well. But I also like to think that if someone didn't watch the actual show and they're just driving to work the next day and want to hear a little recap, that I also give enough of an explanation that hopefully they're not completely lost as well. But Sandy Beach, I get it. Absolutely do. And yeah, I'll be right there with you watching Survivor 42. And happy birthday to you. What a great way to celebrate your birthday. That sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, enjoy your special day, and let's see what happens in the very first episode of yet another season of Survivor. Corey Sheriff, do you plan to audition for Big? Do you plan to audition for Big Brother soon? Did I misread that comment, Corey? Yeah, I think they know. I think they know how to get a hold of me if they ever want to bring me back again. Let's see what else. Oh God, sorry, 7:51. That's amazing. This goes so quick when I'm sitting out here talking to you guys. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, now I gotta go get Lisa. I gotta go get some Apple Jacks, I think. Mark saying, where's the Canadian Diary Big Brother house? What city? And that's what we were talking about. Toronto. I'm pretty sure it's Toronto. It's cold up there. That's all I was like. All right, here's the thing for you. We talked about other versions of Big Brother and all that. If y'all get a chance, and I'm not sure if it's on Netflix still or not. It used to be. Check out Dead Set, which is it's a movie where they take the idea of Big Brother. A lot of people locked inside a house, but in this case, zombies take over the whole rest of the world, and the people inside the house don't know what's going on. They just suddenly realize that, hey, Big Brother isn't talking to us as much as he used to, and suddenly now they've got to the people that you're in the house with saying, this person is such a knucklehead. I'm so ready to boot him out of the house. Well, suddenly that's a person that you have to depend on to maybe save your life, because you got to work with all these people to survive the zombies. That's the premise of Dead Set, and it's actually set and filmed in the Big Brother UK house. And I think some of the people in that movie are actual former Big Brother contestants from the UK. So it's kind of cool. It's fictional, but they take the whole idea of Big Brother and they feed it into this fictional zombie apocalyptic world. And watch it. Well, you'll appreciate it. Now, if you don't like gore and everything, you may have to cover your eyes a few times, because it's not for the squeamish, but pretty cool. Dead set. There's also a version of it that takes place in the Big Brother house in Brazil. Someone redid it for Brazil as well, and I've watched that. But the UK one's a little easier because it's in English and all of that. So yeah, y'all check it out if you get a chance. All right, Michelle. You should apply for Wipeout. Wipeout would bounce around on those big balls and getting slammed to the ground. I feel like I can take a punch here and there. I would do it. Throw up a big slide, a bunch of mud to swim through and all that. Yeah, I'd do Wipeout and say, are they still filming Wipeout? I guess they've done the remake or the new version, new season, or whatever, the reboot, I guess is what you call it. I used to watch Wipeout all the time. Seems like Wipeout's always on at 2 a.m. If there's nothing else on TV, you can usually find Impractical Jokers and Wipeout on some channel somewhere, and both of them always guaranteed get a few laughs from me. I just like watching people kind of throw themselves out there and say, hey, you're not going to embarrass me. I'm just going to show the world what I'm capable of. Victory or failure, either way, I'm going to make the effort. And that's what I like about Wipeout. All right, Lawrence Santiago. It's funny how Arissa kept saying game show, but Julie never says game show. Well, here's the thing. I think as I look at the Big Brother house up in Canada, it's got kind of a game show theme to it. And so, yeah, they're definitely game shows, but they're kind of game shows and reality shows all combined, right? Now, part of the reason, and I'm going to throw two things out there. One thing, I think here in the United States, you've got to be very careful about calling any of these reality shows game shows, because if you call it a game show, it falls under all kinds of restrictions for the FCC. I think it's FCC about what you can and can't do in a game show. Just so you know, the reality TV people, basically the contracts that we all sign, everything else say, hey, we acknowledge that the producers can do whatever they want. It's not a game show. It's just a reality drama, and they have full discretion to do whatever. There's someone in Survivor, I can't remember, was it Kelly Wigglesworth? I can't remember who complained that the producers hadn't quite played fair and everything, and they came back and said, no, it's a reality show. It's a dramatic show. It's not a game show, and therefore we're allowed to manipulate the game, and we don't always have to be 100% fair for one person or another. So I think because of the way it's like wrestling, wrestling says, we're not guaranteeing that this is fair, everything. There's some drama and everything built into it. And it's the same way with these reality shows. So I think they have to maybe be careful not calling it a game show. And Canada may not have the same rules up there. But the other thing, too, is I think the Big Brother house up in Canada this season has been themed as kind of a game show. If you go into the storage room, there's all the different products with prices put in place. You've got the doors that you have to choose from to get different prices. It just has a very game show feel to it. So that may be why we got Arissa referring to as a game show a little bit more this season than certainly we do here in the States, and maybe even than she's done in past seasons. Just my thought. I think about that when you mentioned it. So I think that may be the case. All right, 7:56. What can we finish up with? A couple of things here. Lawrence saying there was a Team Big Brother in the Philippines, but I predict that you'd have a lot of problems in the U.S. Oh, yeah. We already had, was it Kid Nation on CBS? That interesting to watch, but probably not something that ever needs to be done ever again. And I've said before, I don't think I like the idea of any show that's such these reality shows, be it Big Brother, be it Survivor. I'm not sure I like the shows where so much of the rules and the setup is predicated on people betraying and kind of screwing over other people and all of that. It's tough enough when you're in the 20s, your 30s, your 50s. It's hard to deal with people doing that when you have full maturity and wisdom and all that. And I just think when you're in the teens, that I fully acknowledge there are some 18, 19-year-olds that have wisdom beyond their years and would have no issues dealing with it whatsoever. But I also think there's a lot more who would have some major issues, not just in the house, but when they got out as well. All of us, Whitney from season 23 of Big Brother just made some posts last week or so talking about how tough it's been getting out of the house and dealing with some of the stress and everything else. I'm the same way. even after you get out of the house, there's still a lot of stress built into having been in that show and gone through what we went through. And so because of that, I'm not a huge fan of dropping the age below 21. I think it's just you're asking for trouble. It can do a mental number on people in the best of situations. So ask me, I'm always going to say keep it 21, and I would never want to see a different version. Now, if you want to do Amazing Race, a teen version, I'm okay with that because the people aren't necessarily, they're not going against each other. You're challenging yourself in the Amazing Race. How quickly can you do it? And I like that format a lot better. But Survivor, Big Brother, yeah, I'm okay the way it is. And you're speaking about the Philippines. I've seen an episode or two of that. I found out on YouTube or Cody or somewhere. I watched it. All I remember is that it was Big Brother Philippines, and I watched it and thought, man, they look really young. And the second thing I thought is, wow, the budget on this reality show is really down there at the bottom, because if, as I recall, the challenge was something about a big empty room and jumping from rock to rock and not touching the ground or something to get to the end. It was pretty basic. But yeah, I wish there was a channel out there that had nothing but reality TV 24 hours a day and a lot of international. I would love to be able to watch all the Big Brothers from all over the world. It'd be quite the task for everyone to subtitle every one of them, because most of them aren't in English. But it would be cool to watch Survivor. Just call it the Big Brother International channel and have nothing but Big Brother 24 hours a day. Because there's got to be 20 different countries that do Big Brother. There's a lot of them. That would be a lot of fun. So yeah, if anyone's watching and they need a host for the International Big Brother channel, give me a call. I'll learn an extra language or two so I can do some commentary on some other Big Brother versions from around the world. That could be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, guys, 7:59. I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and shut it down. One reminder before we call it good: daylight savings time coming up. What is it? We're in the spring, so spring forward. So unfortunately, it means that you're losing an hour. So what? 2:00 Sunday night or so. You're gonna have to push it to 3:00 or whatever. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, if you're going to church, make sure you set your clocks ahead, because otherwise you're going to miss an hour of the service and all that. So daylight savings time coming up weekend, but also coming up, we've got a Survivor. I'm so excited for it, guys. Y'all have a fantastic week. I'm so glad to be back home. So happy to have my 2 kids married. I'm so glad to be watching all the reality TV and all of that. Y'all have a fantastic next week. I will be back. I'll be back Monday for Cliff Notes Live, but I'll probably be back at some point on Thursday to do a recap of Survivor as well. So again, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so, and you'll get the notifications when I drop that recap. And while you're out there, if you see those little thumbs up buttons on the video, I always appreciate a thumbs up here and there. A like it helps the algorithms and all that. So thank you for that. All right, guys. Y'all have a fantastic one. SKD143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all out there. I always am so appreciative of the support y'all show. The love comes right back to you guys. Y'all have a great Wednesday night. I'm thinking ahead. Y'all have a great Monday night. I will talk to y'all again soon. Till then, cheers, my friends. Bye. See y'all later.